everyone. Welcome to the third episode of Sex, Brains and Money. I'm Nikki Thomas, and thanks for joining us today. So it is Tuesday, July 17th, with record-breaking temperatures outside, and once again we are in this hot little studio up on Alness Avenue, trying our best not to melt. So I'm going to start out today just by talking about some of the feedback that I received since the last episode, and all of you who were so kind to send me emails or tweets or Facebook messages talking about the show. First thing that I'm going to reference is a message I got from Bob in Vancouver, who mentioned that my necklace kept staying stuck to my left boob throughout the entire episode last time, so I decided to wear something a little bit different to compensate for that. He also mentioned the fact that my face was starting to melt about halfway through the episode, which we attribute to the fact that we have to turn off the aircon during filming. So apologies again in advance if my face melts once again today. We do have aircon, but it just has to go off in between while the segments are going on. So a couple of other things that I received in terms of feedback. A lot of people really liked the diversity of guests. They thought it was really interesting to have somebody from a swingers club, somebody from StopConcussions.com who was a former Olympian, as well as, somebody who was helping us sample beer. And Robin LeBlanc, I wish you were here today because a beer would be so lovely right now. But it's only 11 a.m., so maybe we'll meet up around noon and then we can justifiably drink in the afternoon. So the one email that I'd like to feature was one that I got from Dave in Alberta in reference to the Paul Rosen segment. And Dave is quite a hockey fan, as I am as well. Some of you might know this, but I actually did a little feature with All Talk TV before with a guy named Marty York, who is a sportscaster who's been around forever. He and I had something going called TalkingSports.tv, where that's exactly what we did. We talked sports for a couple hours. And Dave, in his email, talked about the instigator penalty in hockey as being one of the reasons for the increased amount of injuries suffered by players. And I'm going to quote Dave right now. He said, "Whether people like it or not, the self-policing that players did was a very effective deterrent to injuries. I know as a referee I would applaud the removal of the instigator penalty, so the weasels who continuously commit these fouls will have to answer in a way that hockey players understand. Is it barbaric? Maybe, but I can only tell you that there were substantially less hits from behind and directly to the head prior to 1994, when delivering such a hit meant meeting Semenko, Probert, or Wendell Clark." So I'm just going to respond to that a little bit. And a lot of people in hockey do feel the same way, but I'm not one of them, to be honest. I really don't think that bare-knuckle boxing, which is basically what hockey fighting is, has any place in a game where the main objective is to put a puck in the net. What happened in '94 was that there were improvements in the way that concussions were diagnosed. It had nothing to do with the instigator penalty whatsoever. And if you recall, last summer there were 4 deaths of former enforcers in the NHL. Bob Probert, Rick Ripien, Derek Bugard, and Toronto's own Wade Belak. All of these players showed evidence of serious traumatic brain injuries during the autopsies. Bob Probert's family actually donated his brain to the Boston University Research Center for Brain Injuries, which has been studying the brains of deceased NFL and NHL players, trying to determine the extent of the damage that their brains experience as a result of the plays. Now, I don't think that substituting one form of violence for another form of violence is going to work. Maybe you had fewer players who were getting injured as a direct result of hits, but the enforcers who were expected to fight each other, they're the ones who are experiencing the vast majority of those brain injuries. They're the ones who are committing suicide in their 20s because of depression. They're the ones who are experiencing major substance abuse issues, major issues of depression, such as Donald Brashear, who's now talking about all the things that he's gone through as a result of having to be the enforcer and having to fight guys. He says that alcoholism is rampant because nobody really likes the idea of stepping onto the ice to just try and knock somebody out. They're there to play hockey. And being labeled a goon is not something that anybody should ever have to go through. And when the only reason for you being on the team is so that you can beat up somebody else, then you really have to question whether you're a hockey player or not. But thank you, Dave, for continuing the discussion. Like I said, this show is all about having conversations, and I'm really glad that we were able to continue the conversation even after the episode. So that's all in terms of feedback for now. We're going to be back with Andrew Randall from the Ryerson Students' Union, who's going to talk about some of the challenges that LGBTQ students face, followed by Dr. John Vervaeke talking about flow, and Carlisle Jansen from Good For Her, who's also the producer of the Feminist Porn Awards. So we're going to have a 2-minute break. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching.